Second last race of the night is the A and B grade final on 125cc machines. It's 10 laps, it's $4,650, $1,000 for first place, and they will all be trying hard. Many of them, riders who'll be in the 250cc final, like Eddie Warren and Daryl Atkins from New Zealand on D, and 12, Mark Kirkman. And 7 to his right, Lyndon Heffernan from Outrider Yamaha, and T, Troy Mackesy, and 9, Troy DORRON, and 18, Jason Andrew, and 17, Craig Andrews, 15, Cameron Taylor, 20 will come back to, 28 is Darren Garlick, and 34, Glenn Smith, 16 is Stan Bergen, 26 is Nigel Arnold, and 10, Paul Timmins, and 60, good on you, Tracy Ann Brooks. A grand for first place. Nearly, or more than $4,500 for the race. And if you get left out of the squash, you're nowhere. And funneling through underneath the tunnel is Daryl Atkins from New Zealand. Eddie Warren from the United States is in second place, and 9 pancakes it down is Troy DORRON. And he says, I don't like this game, I'm off. And behind him, further back, DORRON, actually not very sensibly, he'd been better to stay with the bike, but charged across the front of the field. But the man that they're after is Daryl Atkins, the 19-year-old from New Zealand, who started racing 12 years ago. He's been on bikes a long time, and he nearly kicked it off himself there. And Eddie Warren's come up onto him on the KTM.
Yeah, Daryl Atkins dropping short on those short jumps there, just allowing Eddie to close up, but not quite enough.
And the crowd encouragement now is building up. They're starting to charge them onwards, but they've got dollar signs in their eyes, these guys, and they don't need much charging. Daryl Atkins, Eddie Warren, D and E, and 7, Lyndon Heffernan. At 17 in behind him, Craig Andrews.
Well, this is basically the finishing order of their last heat, I think, Will.
And 12, Mark Kirkman. Yes, it's fairly similar. With Atkins serving up to Warren and saying, the way that happened, of course, was that Warren led most of that race and just nipped, Atkins just nipped by him on the last lap. This is twice as long a race. And will they swap the lead very much?
Well, we certainly hope so. It'll make it look good. 24-year-old
American Eddie Warren, very keen to do so. Second season as resident in Australia. He's the Australian 250 and 500cc motocross champion. Missed out on the 125, which this is, and where his KTM normally works best. Gave up after 12 years riding Kawasaki's to sign on with Bert Flood to ride a KTM. And hasn't gone as well.
No, he hasn't looked as comfortable on the KTMs. I don't think they have them as set up as he'd like to have them. The leading rider in America on the 125s, he was one of the best over there.
Bursting out of the top section of the circuit. Down now, but still not able to find a way around Daryl Atkins. 5 years he's junior. And on lap 4. Atkins, who sneaked by Warren in the last encounter. But this one's the serious one, $1,000. $200 less for where Eddie Warren is at the moment. And 7, Lyndon Heffernan behind them is on, at the moment, $700. Fourth place is on $600.
Yeah, Eddie's starting to look a little bit out of shape there. He's trying pretty hard to stay with Atkins. Atkins riding very forcefully. I guess that's the reason Glenn Bell has him on his team.
And Warren's come back at him. Really come back at him. Very close. All but got him. All but done so. And Daryl Atkins gets untidy and really through the rear sideways. And Warren has not given up, and he charges now from the berm down into the tight exit, punching out of that. A lot of throttle on very early there, and then a slip, and he loses some lengths there.
He always seems to lose it on that section. Coming out from the top of the hill, that's where he gains a little on Atkins. Atkins riding well. He's not being bluffed by Eddie when he comes in and gives him a bit of a push.
And don't forget, further back on 7, Lyndon Heffernan. Not to be discounted. Coming into the picture more. 12's in 4th place. That's Mark Kirkman, and he's at the moment, by virtue of 4th place, on $600, which is not bad for 10 minutes work. Which is a way of simplifying it, because an enormous amount of practice and training and machine preparation goes into it. This is 4th place Kirkman. Lovely side shot. Beautiful. You see all the action that's involved. And every time they pull back there, it's arms and it's shoulders and it's stomach muscles. They work so hard. They're now off into the second half of the race. Lap 6. There you can see 3rd place up in front, Heffernan. Going through on Tracy Ann Brooks. Good on you, girl, for being out there.
Yeah, that's a top effort.
The only thing I'd say she was doing wrong is looking behind her. Charge on and hold your line. People will find their way around. 26, Nigel Arnold. Long since lost interest in his Honda from Woody's Motorcycles.
Well, these leading 4 seem to be bunching up more and more every lap.
Darrell Atkins, Eddie Warren. Heffernan. Oh, boy, aren't they turning it into great potential. And Mark Kirkman. Lap 6.
Heffernan and Kirkman. I think they're gradually closing on Eddie.
Yeah. Like a good, well-handicapped race. Oh, 3rd. 4th again. Heffernan holding on 7 from Kirkman on 12. On lap 7 now. And there's the battle for the lead. Darrell Atkins and Eddie Warren. And you can see the bouncing, springing, jumping maniacs behind are not very far back either. So it really is a beauty. Camera helping a little bit to make it look close, but it's really very close. There wouldn't be 3 seconds, I don't think. Over the first 4 placings. Down the hill comes Kirkman. Back there on 12, having a charge at Heffernan. Darrell Atkins leads them all, but barely.
I don't think Kirkman will get him in that position. He's tried a couple of times coming down the hill. I could be wrong. I may have seen a flash of yellow go through.
7 completed. Atkins and Warren.
Yes, New Kirkman Zealand, into 3, into
United
3rd spot.
States. 12 is 3rd, Kirkman. 4th, therefore, is Lyndon Heffernan. Back there on 7. And up among the back runners now, well and truly, keeps them busy, adds a little bit of further difficulty.
Yeah, well, the lappers, they can sometimes decide the winner and loser of a race. You just can't judge what they're going to do. You've always got to be thinking ahead. Eddie's very well experienced going through the slow traffic.
"19-year-old Atkins, 24-year-old Eddie Warren. Honda versus KTM. Japan versus Europe. And 8 laps completed. And $1,000 being argued over by these guys. $4,650 overall. Heffernan's back into 3rd place. He's got back past Kirkman. And still Eddie Warren just can't find the bit of magic. He gets the KTM so far out of shape. You can see in the background there a flash of Lyndon Heffernan on 7 in 3rd place.
Eddie is certainly trying. He's got the thing sliding all over the track. He's got the gas on as early as possible. He's just not getting that grip coming out of the turns.
3rd and 4th place. This is the battle that's changed places a number of times. At the moment, Heffernan 7 is doing the job on Mark Kirkman 12. So that's Yamaha leads Honda for 3rd and 4th.
The blue flag out indicating the last lap.
And still Darrell Atkins, New Zealand. A man doing the job over Eddie Warren. Fast Eddie, they call him. And he is too. He's the Australian champion in 2 classes. He's a supercross ace from America. And there's Tracy Ann Brooks being lapped a 2nd time. So it gives you an idea of just how hard these guys are charging.
Well, Darrell Atkins is looking good. There's not far to go for Eddie to try anything. Oh, my God. That's
Eddie,
the end of it.
one could say, is in a fair bit of trouble. $800, Eddie. $1,000 this man. Eddie looking at 800. But a couple of guys coming past and getting the glaze in their eyes as over the finishing line goes Darrell Atkins, 19-year-old from New Zealand, saying, thank you, delicious. And into second place goes Lyndon Heffernan on the Yamaha number 7. And third place, that man, 12, just coming up to lap Tracy Ann Brooks. On 12, Mark Kirkman for Suzuki, Australia.
How do you feel after that one?
Yeah, I felt really good in that race. I was riding a little bit nervous at the beginning of the race because Eddie was right on me. But I got my strings together and pulled it off, and that's what I wanted.
Well, I can tell you, Eddie was right on your heel there up until the middle of the last lap when you came off. Did you realise you'd come off?
No, I heard the crowd go, so that's the reason why I didn't double over there by the finish, because I knew something must have happened, so I was lucky.